join those who don't support this?
Not at all. I mean, but for the fact that you have invited us into their problems, we would have been happy to be spectators to the evolution of, the challenges that the New Patriotic Party is going through. Not at all. I mean, I have said that the only threat against the NDC securing a renewed mandate is the NDC itself. Unfortunately for the New Patriotic Party, it is both their own internal challenges and the Herculean tax they would have ahead to justify why they need to be returned 4 years on after taking Ghana down a very rabid, hellhole, if I may say so. A number of things. I mean, observing from afar and listening to all that is happening, it would seem as if the key issues from within members of the New Patriotic Party itself is the timing, and it's also concerns about party unity, whether this particular action will be a masterstroke to further nail the coffin of despondency and despair, for the New Patriotic Party, or a masterstroke that will give them a new leash, on life to put together a strong showing, hopefully, for them towards the 2028 election, and calls for transparency. Calls for transparency because we have had primaries that have happened within the New Patriotic Party that major senior members of the party have had to come and disclose to all of us that the processes were not fair, they were not inherently equitable and just, and that the eventual mandate was a procured mandate. These are all testimonies from within the camp of the New Patriotic Party. So those who have these concerns about transparency and the real motive and intent behind, kind of like turning their own constitution upside down. Because look, I have heard lawyers speak about the internal logic of our 1992 constitution. And when you read about where power lies, power lies in the people, right? They merely vested.
You begin from the preamble. You don't even get to Article 1 before you hear that in the Constitution.
The sovereignty
resides in the people.
In the people.
At another point, it says it springs from the people.
So if constitutionally, even at that suprastructure level, NPP seems to be disconnected from the importance of empowering your base and, engaging in a bottom-up approach to leadership. Like I said,
but however they do it, it will still come from the people.
Well, will it?
However they do it will still come from the people.
I don't have much to say about the structure, but I just have a few, words of advice if they will take
to
it.
Help them build their
because
party.
For me, I think that the NPP has, they've taken this nation down a certain stead, and the extent of their loss has still not sunk in, because you see, trauma and trauma response manifest differently. You would agree with me that the loss of the New Patriotic Party has not given them an opportunity to sit in. Sometimes you need to sit in your grief a bit and then do the necessary recompense, do your review, do your reflections, make your confessions. Here we are, that you're asking people to come on a journey of reforms that they do not even know the reasons for those, because many members of the party say they don't even still know why the party lost. So how are they able to come with you on this, reform journey? I read a book recently, my brother, Ministry of the Dispossessed. In fact, I bought it because of the title. I was in traffic when I saw the book, Ministry of the Dispossessed, and it's about the South African situation. But I think that in our case, if you take the title of that book, Ministry of the Dispossessed, it was a period that the New Patriotic Party, in the case of Ghana, compulsorily ushered all of us into an interdenominational ministry of the dispossessed for the citizens of this country. What did they do? under the Nana Bawumia regime, they literally dispossessed the citizens, the majority of the citizens of Ghana, of our incomes, of our savings, of our investments, of our dignity, of our voice even to express ourselves, of our pensions, as we know, homes. Mortgages were lost as a result of the colossal mismanagement of the economy. And it was a really dark time for many people, you know, and I think many members of the party concede to this. But for the leaders who continue to show posturing like there have been no lessons learned at all from the experience of the 2024 election, tables have turned, you know, luckily. Ghanaian peoples, we literally pulled ourselves out of the doldrums through our, you know, bootstraps and bootstraps and the power of our thumb to vote massively against, you know, the New Patriotic Party. What has happened now that is a reversal of the rules, where the New Patriotic Party have also entered their own ministry of the dispossessed. They've been dispossessed of the mandate of the people of Ghana. They've been dispossessed of power and influence. They've been dispossessed of quite a few things. And this level of dispossession requires some deep, sober reflections. However, if you make a comparative analysis in the era of the NDC, when the NDC lost elections, if you looked at the conduct and the character of the opposition, at least in the, you know, first year or so in opposition, it's quite distinct and different from the New Patriotic Party. They seem to have hit the ground running in a reverse direction as members of the opposition because of their posturings and, you know, the activities they have engaged in, the disruptions, which seem to suggest to and the justifications of their tenure. You know, at every turn they take an opportunity to justify, you know, and try to, again, play this game and mind games of telling Ghanaians that you did the wrong thing by voting us out. At a point that they know what they had done, how they hurt this country, they still haven't recovered from, you know, that traumatic experience. So what I would say is that trying to jump the broom before the time may not work in the interest of restoration. Because if you truly want to do a deep and sober reflection, those on whose hands the defeat happened may not necessarily be trusted to lead a fair and a just process. That is why it was important to go by your own bottom-up approach. Hold elections. Let those who qualify to contest, let them contest. Let the people give you renewed mandate and power to lead them into the next, you know, even towards your national
but you are definitely
primaries.
worried. You are definitely worried about the circumstances that you find yourself.
Don't say you are definitely. Ask the question.
Worried about the circumstances the NDC find yourselves.
Which is?
That President Mahama will have to exit. Are you also thinking to innovate so that you can have early primaries, the fear of the president becoming a lame duck?
It is not the candidates the NDC eventually chooses that will determine the outcome of the 2028 elections. It is the legacy His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is going to leave behind. It is the economy we're going to leave behind. It is the lives we change positively that is going to make that determination. So whoever emerges victorious in the NDC primaries will just be an icing on the cake, which is why I keep reminding ourselves that, look, we have the power to easily get a renewed mandate. If we do, we work hard, we work right, and we work smart.
Interesting.
And that is the work of the NDC, and we deal with
so Prof, this situation we find ourselves in